Hi all, time for another video on the Build the Millennium Falcon series. I've got the next 4 issues, 85, 6, 7 and 8. A little bit late doing them this month, been a bit busy with all sorts of things going on, but let's get on and make a start with issue 85. Okay, so issue 85 is basically a sort of mirror image of what we've already done before. We're just finishing off the other loading mandible, and this is where we left off last time. Mine looks pretty much exactly the same. The only difference is I've light blocked all the plastic parts. But it looks really like we're just adding all the plastic detail and all the little greeblies and things. So we'll do that, and then presumably when we get to the wiring bit, then we can take a little bit of a detour and look at some of the modifications I'm going to do, because I'm going to put some of the red LEDs that you often see around the edges of the underside. They give us the flashlights, as it were, but not the little red LED marker lights. So let's crack on. Okay, well, there's really not too much to show you on issue 85 or stage 85. We've done all this before. It's pretty much repeating, so I won't bore you. Basically, that's where we'll end up at the end of the issue. There's one more piece to add, which is this one, but it does highlight there that this is a bridge piece and not to fit it yet. What's going to happen is when we get these two pieces mounted on the side of the mandible, that's going to sit over the top, and it's going to bridge the two pieces and act as a sort of a connecting piece. So that's it. That's all for issue 85. Let's crack on with issue 86. Okay, and here's issue 86. We'll just have a little look, see what we're doing. So it looks like we're going to be finishing off, hopefully, this mandible in this issue. Oh, we've got some more detail work to do. So yeah, a bit more framework and some detail work, and we've got some lights as well and some wiring by the look of it. These look interesting. Yeah, more LEDs. Interesting. I wonder if they're going to do any more of the red ones that I thought about. I don't think so, but there's more here than I've expected. There's 4 in there, so I wonder where these. Maybe they are going to do more of the floodlights. Let's let's make a start and see what we've got. Okay, so on page 11 of stage 86, everything's assembled much as we did with the first mandible. Big difference for me this time is I've got these things in the right way around. I made a mistake on the last one, some of you may remember. So that's that part that's ready. Now I've just done this bit where I've fitted the 2 side plates to the front end of the mandible. Now the next bit is to fit the bulb for the lighting, but if you remember from the last one I did, I'm not going to do that just now. I'm just going to break off now, and I'm going to light block the inside of that recess, because there's a lot of light comes from that LED and it just sort of bleeds through top and bottom. So I'm just going to go and light block that, and then can carry on with the rest of that assembly. Okay, so stage 86 again, really much of the same, not much to show you. So what you should have is, by the end of it, the other mandible finished. Now one thing I noticed is this piece doesn't want to sit in very well here. So when you're gluing that in, make sure you get some on the inside of these edges, because it just didn't want to. I've just put the glue on the lugs, but it's not quite enough. I've got it pretty much now, but it's just would have been nice if that had just sat in just that little bit more snugly, but on the whole that's okay. So that's the end of 86, so let's move on. Okay, so we're up to issue 87. I've got some wiring here. It looks like it's for the engines, so let's have a little look inside. Here we go. So yeah, basically we're starting to prepare some of the kit to light the engine. So it looks like we're going to be working on the lower hull section, which will be a nice change. So right, let's I'll make a start and I'll let you know anything that's really important. Oh yes, looks like it's going to get a bit busy inside, so yeah, let's see how this goes. Okay, so it looks like the additional lights, or the additional LEDs are for, they are actually going to go in here, so we have got some landing lighting. It's not enough, obviously, it's not all of them, so I don't know why they've done some but not all. At least it's something, I suppose. So yeah, it's really odd that. So it looks like we're going to have 4, 1, 2 on each side, either side of the, so to illuminate the ground around the landing platform on that side, and I suppose around the escape pods, which is the round things that are at the end of the corridors. So, but what I can't figure out is why do those and leave all the rest, because there's a whole row of them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick to my original plan. I'm going to build it as the kit and then do the modifications later, because there's no point in me planning to modify now, only to find out that they're going to make a change or a revision or add something else later on. So I think for now we'll just have to press on as per instructions. Okay, just a little tip. It tells us here to remove the battery box from the inside of the upper hull. Don't forget there's 2 tiny captive nuts in that forward section that sort of sits there-ish, and when you take them out they're just going to go walkabout. Luckily I found mine, but so just bear in mind when you take this out there's captive nuts on the other side of the screws and they're not fixed unless you've glued them in earlier, so just keep that in mind so you don't lose them. Okay, so we've got 4 of these landing lights plugged in. So 2 on the port side, 2 more on the starboard side. They're all plugged into the main circuit board, and there's a pressure switch that goes onto the port rear landing gear, and there's a little pressure switch so that basically if the gear is in, it'll light up. If there's no gear there, it won't light up. So apparently to test it we need to switch the battery on, and we need to manually press that button, which of course can't do at the moment because I've got the landing gear covers on, so I'll have to try and take those off. I'll put the camera down and come back in a sec. Okay, so in theory what we now have to do is to test it by pushing the underneath in here. I don't know if you can see in there the little blue button which we've just installed. That's the pressure switch for the landing gear, so we've turned that on, and as long as B is switched on we get some landing lights, and there they are. You can just see them on the inside. Okay, we're on to issue 88. So we've got all the lighting in now for the landing lights, the boarding ramp, etc. So this looks like we're now doing the engine. Funny enough, this is quite similar to the way I was doing the 1/72nd scale Falcon. If I started a video on that many months ago, I haven't had a chance to do any more to it yet, but it's a very similar technique anyway. So let's get on with this and see what we're doing in issue 88. Okay, so on stage 88, that's the first half of the engine put together. It's fairly easy to do, just a little bit fiddly getting the wire in, but you want to make sure that you don't trap it, and then that way you can pull any excess through, and that wants to be centered, so it'll look good once it's all lit up. My only concern is there going to be a gap in the middle? There shouldn't be in terms of light. Because as you can clearly see, if we're going to put those together like so, and the other one's going to fit there, there's at least an inch there, maybe half an inch of unlit, so little concern about that. I don't want to see a big shadow on the engine. That would not be correct. So let's see if it's going to work. I'm hoping. You see, if this was done the other way round, like that, you've got one right at the end, but because of the way these are done, you're going to get the cable in there, and then the first one is actually a good inch in. So if we do that again, there is an 1.5 inch gap, which is going to look awful. So, interesting. Anyway, I'll carry on as they've proceeded, but I see a potential issue there, in as much as there's going to be a gap in the middle of the engine. There'll be no light in the centre of the engine. So let's see how we go. Okay, so end of issue 88. This is what we have. The engine's in place, and pretty much as I thought, this should have been done in reverse, so you're going to have the two strips really close together. In fact, if I can remove these, I might take them off and redo them, because that's just silly. Big gap in the middle. We all know that light should be continuous all the way along. So what I'll do is we'll see what it looks like when I've got the top on. It may be that it's going to shine out such a wide sort of pattern that it'll cover it up, but to me I think we're just going to get a dead spot in the middle, which is a real shame. Anyway, to test it, once you've got these in, so basically the two motor, or the two parts of the sublight engine plug into, port is J16, starboard is J10, and they're just fitted in with 4 screws each side. And then to test it, all we've got to do is hit the main switch, which is still floating loose, because I think that's actually going to sort of stick out the side somewhere there. So just fire that on, turn that on to give it power. Button A is the ramp, button B is the landing gear, but those will only work when there's something pressing against that other switch that we saw earlier on, which is here, which is a pressure switch. And then the motors, if we press B, come on like so. And as you can see, there's a horrible, great big dead spot gap. What were they thinking? I don't know. Maybe it's me. Let's go and get the. Actually, I can do that while you're with me. We'll just grab this very quickly. It's gone very dark suddenly, and we'll pop that over the top. It's not quite in the right place, but we can get an idea. And then if we put the fan over like so, we should be able to get an idea on what it looks like. Now you can see why I did all that light blocking, because there are areas where that would just shine straight through and it would look terrible. So there we go. That's the engines, and yeah, there's a I don't know why they don't test this stuff first. I really don't. So you've got the engines, which look great, with a great big blind spot in the middle there. Just there, where there's no LED. I would have thought they should have been closer together, but I don't suppose we'll notice. I suppose if that's diffused well enough, it'll be alright. Maybe I'm worrying for nothing, but certainly if you get a chance to position these, when you put these on, if you haven't stuck them on yet, I would try and get them closer to the centre so that we don't have such a big dead spot in the centre. In fact, I think I'm going to do that anyway. I'm going to move them both across and just hope, if it doesn't re-stick, then I'll just use some glue to stick it down. But I'm going to move those. I don't like that big gap in the centre. Okay, what I did is I just peeled these back off, let a little bit more cable through on the starboard side, so that this is slightly nearer to the centre. And on the other one I did the opposite, so pulled as much cable as possible, so shortened that cable as possible, so that when you switch them on, not quite as obvious as it was, it's still a bit more obvious than I would like. I wonder if I can shift that one over a bit. This one's alright now, but this one's still too much. I'm going to see if I can get another few mil off of that one. Okay, I think that's about as close as I dare take it. Any more than that and I risk breaking the wires there. So I've just moved it along a little bit. So hopefully it'll cover the gap up slightly. Yeah, I think we'll get away with that. It's not a big thing, it's just, I'm assuming there's going to be a sheet of something that's going to act as a diffuser that's going to go around there. So that'll be alright, but you know, I know from the other models I do that hot spots from LEDs can be an issue. Sometimes you can see them when you don't want to. And sometimes you can see the dead spots because you can't get enough LEDs in place. The warp nacelles on the Voyager I'm making at the moment are a classic example. But this is the same way of doing it basically, with just some LED tape. But I think that'll be alright. It's interesting actually because you can see, right, yeah, you see I haven't light blocked this top piece, and look at the way the light's coming through. I'll make that more obvious now. All those times people got bored of me going on about light blocking, but no, that's why. Look at that. That's why it's so important to light block. Just go straight through the plastic, but from underneath it doesn't. So yeah. No, there's no light bleeding through. A little bit up in there which I can fix later, but yeah, so that's quite bright light and it will just go through the plastic. So, but in fact I'll go and light block this now while I think of it, because I'd assembled it but I hadn't light blocked any of it, so that can all be done now. Anyway, that takes us to the end of issue 88. So we'll leave it for that, leave it for now. So I'm assuming 88, 92, so there's another 2.5 months worth coming effectively. So is that right? 88 to 92, 92 to 96. Oh no, there's another 3. So yeah, of course 3 4s are 12. So yeah, anyway, that's it. I hope it's been of some help. Hopefully that little bit on the LEDs will help you get those positions so you don't get quite such a big dead spot in the middle. I think it'll look better if you can avoid that. So anyway, that's it for now, and I shall see you next time. Bye for now.